Today I'm going to be breaking down 6 different pieces of filmmaking tech and gear that I believe are absolutely essential in your camera bag going into 2025 and beyond. Because mate, there's a certain few productions this year where I didn't have some of these things in my camera bag and I just wish I had them in there. It would have made my life so much easier and just saved me so much time. So let's break down these 6 different things. This video is sponsored by Artlist, so I'll be talking a little bit about them later. But first up mate, the very first one, it's quite a fun one actually. The Smoke Genie. Now, if you don't know what a Smoke Genie is, mate, it's basically a monster vape. This thing, I wouldn't recommend smoking it. I don't think you can smoke it, but this thing definitely smokes out a room if you need it to. So it's a tiny little handheld smoke machine. You can haze the hell out of a room. Whoa. Create a nice amount of atmosphere. You can also create rays coming through a window if you want to, you know, allow a little bit of atmosphere in the room. You want to make something seem a bit more dusty. If your light's a bit too hard, you can actually diffuse the light in the room. So this thing to have in your camera bag, this small, is just an absolute essential, mate. The amount of times I've pulled this out and used it in a frame that you probably don't even realise I've smoked the room out. You just feel like the atmosphere's there. This thing is banging, mate. I really, really recommend one of these. Next up, mate, and that is the Supa clamp. Now, this thing really is called a super clamp because it is super duper good, mate. I absolutely love super clamps. I don't know what I'd do without them. The amount of times where I'm in a sticky situation, what you'll notice is that like filmmaking isn't all about making films. Sometimes it's about problem solving, and you're on set and maybe you've got a 2-camera setup for an interview and you want to rig a light in a certain place, or you want to clamp a light up to the ceiling, or you haven't got enough room for your boom for your mic or whatever. The super clamp will pretty much solve about 92% of your problems, mate. This thing is going to save you so much stress and it's going to get you out of a lot of problems. I usually use the super clamp to clamp lights to poles or to clamp my boom pole, for example. I actually just took it off my boom pole to make this video and now I'm using some other dodgy clamp, mate. The super clamp is the one. You can obviously fit a spigot in there and you've got 1/4-inch threads on the bottom. Boring, I know, but it will change your life. Next up, and probably the most boring thing I've got on this whole list, to be completely honest with you, is a huge selection of step-up rings. Now, recently, I was making a video, it's actually for the channel. I was making a video, I've got these incredibly, easily the most beautiful cinema lenses I've ever personally shot on, especially for a YouTube production or a YouTube video production. Who do I think I am? These are YouTube videos. Recently got these incredible cinema lenses to play with for a YouTube video, and I've got loads of step-up rings, right? I've got loads of them for my 82mm ND filter, right? I only need an 82mm ND. I don't need a larger one. I don't shoot on larger lenses with bigger filter rings, right? So I'm thinking to myself, sweet, I've got these brand new lenses that I'm gonna play with. I've definitely got the step-up rings that I need for my ND filter because I've got loads of them. Anyway, the lenses turn up and I'm thinking, great, I'll shoot with them next week. Next week comes around, I'm thinking, right, I've got my camera, I've got my lens, I've got the ND filter, I'll have a step-up ring for it. I get all of the gear together, I pick up the lens and I'm right, cool, right, let's find the step-up ring, go through my step-up rings, 55mm. Who uses 58mm it was, right? I've got all of the other step-up rings, but I didn't have 58. So guess what? I couldn't shoot that day. Now, don't get it wrong, I did shoot with the ND, but I kind of just like held it to the front of the lens, right? Now, the fact that this stupid little piece of metal, right, because I didn't have that, that caused me a massive issue. So going forward, I'm only gonna have 82mm step-up rings all the way down to like that big. So I really, really recommend having a whole set of step-up rings for the size of your ND filter, no matter if you never think you're gonna use a lens with like a 27mm step-up. I recommend having them all in there, mate. Keep them in a kit, keep them in your bag. They're there, you don't have to worry, because I'm an idiot. Learn from my mistakes, don't make your own mistakes. Bosh. The next one I'm gonna talk about is an absolute essential, mate. Now, this doesn't matter if you're a massive big media production or you're like a tiny little creator. You need somewhere where you can get assets from, mate. Now that could be music, that could be sound effects, that could be royalty free stock footage, that could be a template, that could be text, fonts, that could be an overlay, that could be an AI generated voiceover. I've been using this platform forever. It is today's sponsor, that is Artlist. They've now got LUTs, they've got artboards. Artlist is a huge chunk of my filmmaking ecosystem. Cameras, lenses, they're cool, right? My editing platform, that's cool. But having a stock platform where I can get tracks, sound effects, all of these different elements to my videos that I can just dip and dive into whenever I want, completely royalty free, where I don't have to worry about having any copyright infringements, whatever. That is without a doubt the best thing that I can add to my filmmaking toolkit. I honestly don't think I'll be able to do my job without a platform like Artlist. Like, what would I do? Give my clients their videos without music on it? Without some beautiful, obviously I can make sound effects, I'm not quite the magician, but I can make sound effects, but that is going to take me forever, mate. So I honestly don't know what I'd do without a platform like Artlist, and without a doubt, the most essential tool that I have in my ecosystem of filmmaking. So if you want to go and check out Artlist, I'll leave a link in the first line of my description. That will give you 2 months for free when you sign up for an annual subscription, and also 10% off when you sign up for a max plan because of their new holiday sale. That's pretty good, mate. If you haven't checked out Artlist, definitely just go and check it out. Even if you're not bothered about going and actually purchasing it, mate, just go and see it for yourself. It's pretty damn good. Next up, a monitor. Now, this does seem pretty obvious and pretty boring, but having a camera monitor is going to completely change the way that you shoot video. Now, for a lot of people that are maybe higher end cinematographers, yeah, obviously a monitor is so damn obvious. But for those of you that maybe just shoot on your mirrorless cameras, or, you know, you're starting to really bulk out your filmmaking kit, I have only really, I'd say, like within the last 2 years, given my monitor the value that it deserves when it comes to being on a production. Now, obviously we can have the best camera, the best lenses, but if you can't actually see and monitor what you're actually shooting to expose correctly, to get the best image out of your camera, your shot's still gonna be crap, mate. You need to be able to expose, you need to be able to compose, but to me, the most important thing is having my camera and my monitor set up in a way that I know exactly how I'm exposed. I need it to be bright enough so that I can actually see my shot when I'm out shooting in the daytime. And also, I need to be able to use the tools like peaking, like zebras, histogram, and to be able to actually read my histogram to know how I'm exposing for the type of picture profile I'm shooting in on my camera, and also to be able to monitor a LUT. Now, those things for me are so important that I obviously can do on my tiny little FX3, for example, but being able to do it on a larger monitor gives me so much more confidence. When I'm shooting on my monitor, set up in the way that I shoot, right, and the way that I expose my shots to get the best out of that shot, in my opinion, has had a massive leap on the overall image quality that I get out of my camera now. So I'm not going to tell you which brand of monitor to get. I use the Portkeys LPH5P2. This thing is absolutely banging. 2200 nits, super bright, got all of the tools that I need. I personally don't care what monitor you use, as long as it works with you, your exposure tools, what you need to expose your shot in, great. I'll do a full video on what I've just spoke about, because I know it's quite in depth, and I feel like I've really learned a lot when it comes to shooting on monitors, especially when it's linked to my FX3, for example. So hang about for that video. Onto the final tool of this video. A tiny, powerful bi-color light. Now, this particular one that I use, I forgot the name. It's a Zion Molus G60. Now, again, I don't care what one that you get, but for me, having this tiny little 60-watt bi-color light has made such a big difference to my interviews, to my productions, to be able to cruise about, right, with a 60-watt light that is this small in my camera bag. I'm actually using it right now as my backlight. That's why I can't physically show you. It's up there, but obviously I'll show you the B-roll. It is so amazing to have this tiny little powerful light in my bag. I can light a certain part of my scene if I want to shoot. I can also use it as a backlight for my subjects when I'm shooting interviews. It's tiny, it's not intrusive, it's not like it makes a big impact on set. It's just over there. It's just behind you, mate. If I'm the interviewee and my backlight's just over there, it's tiny. It's got a beautiful little hood that comes with it. You can also modify it with a larger little softbox, and this thing can also be linked up to your massive softboxes with a Bowens mount adapter. So 60 watts is mega, mega powerful. It can also be powered off of a USB-C, which is a bit mad. So having this tiny little light in my camera bag on whatever production it's in, whether it's a backlight or I'm lighting a certain part of my scene, or if I really do want to use it in the worst case scenario, my main key light's just died, or if I've got a flight somewhere and my bag's been lost, but I've got this tiny little light in my backpack, I can use that light as a key light in the worst case possible scenario that I'd need to. So having this tiny little G60 light in my camera bag is such a big lifesaver in certain situations and just adds so much production value to any of my shots, especially in interviews. Anyway, you lot, I hope you enjoyed that little breakdown of 6, uncommon things to have in your camera bag. I know some of them are pretty common, like a monitor and that, but I still want to break down the reasons why I think they're so essential in your camera bag. Definitely leave me a comment if you think that there's some really unusual things that you have in your camera bag that I might have missed that might help out everyone else watching this video and checking out the comments. Anyway, you lot, thanks so much for watching. Definitely go and check out Artlist in the first line of my description. And as always, mate, I'll be catching you lot in the next one, mate. Oh, shit.